All right. Can everybody hear me now? Can somebody say something, please?
Hello.
Oh,
Hi.
wonderful. Okay. Thank you, Liz, the hero of the hour. Very much appreciate you. And Harry and Susanna, thank you so much for joining us today. So I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. And our first, well, any public comment before we move on to our first action item? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Wonderful. So our first discussion item today is to plan for our May 28th community event. We have a date, we have a time, a location. We've got a rough outline of what we want to cover. So this is let's take this time to shore everything up. And yeah, Up for Learning team. I would love to hear from you and get some guidance on where we can go from here.
Well, this is Barb. Can we recap what we talked about? I think maybe what we were envisioning. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
I think what we were envisioning was an icebreaker perhaps, and then an explanation of what we've been doing, and maybe were we going to have some of the different participants or participants from Up in the different facets from, like, for example, the learning community, and maybe the other communities explain what we did and maybe how we got there. I'm wondering, was there a vision or room for another question and feedback from the audience? So I'm just going to kick it off with that, and maybe that'll jog our memories. I don't think we can hear Harry. There.
Okay.
Let's try this. How's it?
Cannot be lowered to
overriding that?
0.
Okay.
That's weird.
Yeah,
I
that works.
had a turn. Okay, sorry,
Okay. I
folks.
think we've cleared the hurdle here.
This is a high tech kind of move I just did, which is like you lift up one butt cheek and you slide your phone under, and then you just silence yourself by distributing your weight evenly. Just like to pass that on as it's practice. What Susanna and I had talked about was, because it totally resonates, Barb, with what you just said. Susanna typed up the notes from our meeting in April, and it sort of goes through a couple of different stages, and it, I think, captures what you've just spoken about in terms of sort of a quick sketch or a quick overview of what we had talked about for the community event on the 28th. But it also sort of captures, what is it we're trying to accomplish through this evening? What are some of the logistical pieces that we want to be sure to address? And then it also links a number of other useful documents, right? Like the Portrait of a Learner guide, those sorts of things. So that's what we were thinking, but partly it depends. Do you all have access to that document? Okay.
Yeah, I just put it in the chat. So
It's in the chat.
Okay.
So if you all click into the Zoom chat, you should be able to see it.
That's my suggestion, that we just sort of walk through this together and we can update it as we go. Does that sound all right? I think I see people nodding.
Yeah, to walk through the agenda as we have it and then maybe talk through, I think, some of those considerations you had, Barb, and any others. And then I don't know, I mean, maybe we want to check in to see if these next steps still feel relevant. Making an invite that can be shared widely, planning and delegating outreach efforts. There's a list on this notes too of some groups that we brainstormed for outreach. And then the potential of organizing childcare support and food. So, I'm just assuming that that hasn't happened yet, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some updates to those ends. Okay, great. So yeah, if it feels right, we can walk through the agenda.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and I will maybe bump this up here. I'll copy this.
Well, let's even start with that sort of opening section about what it is we want to accomplish, because one of the things we find in all of our work that it's really important to keep going back to why are we doing this, so that when we decide what it's going to look like, it's toward we all know what we're trying to get to. And so that first section in the notes after next steps, what do we hope to accomplish? I mean, I'll just narrate quickly and just open the floor for questions or suggestions, but it's really the idea of sharing this work that's culminated in a portrait of a learner and why we did it. So oftentimes we've heard Patrick talk about the North Star, the shared vision as a key sort of lever to use in all sorts of work that the district is taking up. And then, I like this note. It's an anchor in a destabilizing and confusing time, knowing who you are, where you're going, et cetera. I don't want to read every word that's in front of us here, but these are the talking points. And I think one of the questions would be, is that something that you all want Patrick to speak to? Is it something you want one of you or several of you want to speak to, as a way of really framing the evening, so that when we get down to the agenda, like these are sort of the opening steps. But just to be sort of returning to that, to say, like, that's what we're doing. We're trying to bring this forward, explain what it is, why we did it, how it's going to contribute to our work as a school community. And then the second part is this really the idea of, like, how do we create opportunities for people to engage with this and contribute? And so there were a couple of prompts there, right? How could, maybe we ask that question, how could people contribute? What are ways to stay informed and engaged, et cetera? So yeah, other thoughts about that sort of framing and being clear on why we're doing this and what we hope to accomplish in this community event. Does that still resonate for all of you, or questions or suggestions?
I think
Okay.
that's lovely and wonderful. And I think, can we just nominate Patrick to share the why? Can we just do that?
I think that's a good move. I mean, he's played that role with the Portrait of a Learner team. And I mean, that is really, it fits with what his role and responsibilities are for you all as a district.
Yeah. And I wonder if there's anyone who wants to, like, stand by Patrick's side in that too, maybe not to, burden them with having to carry it, but I just think about too, like, the power of having maybe board representation or youth members. I mean, we can certainly speak to pieces, but I think it feels really good to have this part of the event really owned by MAUSD folks. I don't know if people have thoughts. Is it like Patrick is kind of sole, has the mic, or do we want to expand it to see if there's any folks who might be interested?
I mean, I'm not interested in sharing in particular. That's not my strength, but I think it would make sense to stand with him, right? Just be up there, have people see us. I mean, we're trying to connect with our community too, and not everybody knows us, right? So to see this is your you know, these are your board reps, these are your people. So I'd be happy to do that if you think that's enough.
Yeah, I think that's really important, Liz, that whether it's you or all of you or some subset of this committee. And I do think there is a piece that really is yours, and I don't mean you, Liz, but this committee's to say, which is the part about like we've asked you to come together. We brought this community together because we want to tell you what we've been doing, why we've been doing it, and we want to know, well, these questions like, how can you, I mean, the questions are, how can I support this pillar? How can we support this pillar? Looking at ways to plug into the work and contribute as a community member. Like, I think we're trying to have the evening be like, ideally people would leave being informed and feeling like, hey, I've got a part in this. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's the piece that would be good to come from you all in some fashion. And at the beginning, you know, it's just to touch on it broadly. There'll be further conversation as sort of set up in the agenda
Mhm.
or proposed in the agenda.
Yeah, I like that. And I capture that in a question to maybe make sure we make room for like, why did we want to gather with you tonight? You know, we can introduce purpose of the Portrait of a Learner and the process, but it's like, okay, why here, right? Why right now? Why you? I like that. Any other thoughts on this portion?
I
Okay.
like it.
So then we had a spot for introductions for people to, maybe I have some clarifying questions too of people introducing themselves, sharing, getting a chance to share a little bit about why they're here, maybe doing a turn and talk, like talk to a neighbor, someone near you. Why did you show up? Which is a very simple and straightforward way to do introductions. We have others in our toolkit that are maybe more, I don't know, Beth and Barb, you've seen some of our kind of icebreaker activities. So I'm wondering kind of what range of icebreaker would feel best suited to this night. Like I'm just thinking out loud, like one of them is like a music mingle where we play music and then we have people get into groups of 5 and then they all go around in their group of 5 and they say their name and why they're here tonight. And we can go to groups of 4 and it's kind of a fun way to move people around. But that's not the right fit for every event. So I'm kind of curious, like what's people's gut sense about the how we want to be in the tone? Oh, Barb, it looks like you're muted.
Okay. I think, here's what I think, and I wonder if that's an activity for a larger group, and if we had just a very small a small show of people come, my worry would be that that might not work as well. So I'm wondering if we might be able to think of 2 activities, 2 icebreakers that one to use if there's a larger crowd and one to use if there's a smaller crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Just
I think that's wise. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I agree with Barb.
So the thought I was going to add, you know, there's a piece in here too about Susanna and I, at least briefly introducing ourselves and explaining who up or what Up for Learning is and how we do our work and why we do it in the way that we do. And one of the things that I think I'm speaking for you, so you can correct me. I think one of the things we're trying to do more and more in that introduction to our organization is talk about, it sort of connects to this icebreaker conversation in the sense that we are asking people to step into work, conversations that lead to work that are not necessarily typical of a school day or any organization's day, because we're working across generations. We're bringing up questions that have to do with like deeply held values and beliefs, and we're coming from very different perspectives. And so finding a way to have this conversation that's both honest, constructive, risk taking, or balancing like risk taking with safety. Like, that's the character of the work that we do. And so I'm feeling more and more like we need to say that up front to people so that they understand what we're expecting of them. I mean, people can make choices about how much they step into or out of our work, but I'm saying it in the context of an icebreaker to then say, okay, so, one of the things we want to do is have you meet each other briefly in a way that will bring some degree of like, I don't know, context to, this conversation tonight. And so that's why, we're asking you to introduce yourself. You may know the person you're talking to, or you may not. But it opens the door to a kind of exchange that's really similar to the way that we worked with the Portrait of a Learner team, the way we work with all our teams, and the way that we believe helps a community identify what's really important and how to move forward on it. So
Mhm.
I guess to put to come to a close on that, I think deciding on what's the right energizer, I do think, or intro, it's like, it is really good to read the room. Like,
Mhm.
how many people are here? What's the dynamic? And to find that balance between asking people to take some degree of risk while also doing it in a way where it's a choice. They can choose how they engage in that.
Mhm.
So, a turn and talk intro.
Yeah, we could also do like, we have an activity called Team Tally, which we could adapt to be more simpler and maybe more suited to the range of folks who might show up. And might be MAUSD specific. So what happens with Team Tally is you get a piece of paper. It's like you sit with a group of people and you tally up, how many people can relate to whatever the statements are. So it could be like the number of years that you have been connected to MAUSD. Just put a tally for every check mark. It's a way to kind of like break the ice that
Yeah.
maybe is a little bit more you could do it in a smaller group, and you could also do it and it's a little bit more subdued, if that's kind of the tone. Not subdued, but that might be a fun way to, we could whip something up and kind of see what people think, see what it brings up for people.
And I do think this is a part that would be good for you and me to take the lead
Yeah.
facilitating.
We got that.
Yeah, so.
Awesome. Okay.
That sounds perfect. I'm getting so excited already.
I do really appreciate that. You all have given us some really encouraging feedback. That's awesome. That could lead us to getting totally carried away. So you can also rein us in if things
Yes.
really start to go
Yes.
too far.
We are not the people for reining in.
Okay. Okay.
So then we had chatted at our last meeting about creating an opportunity for people to interact with the Portrait of a Learner that invites them to see where they fit into it. And so we imagined maybe some stations that had the language of Portrait of a Learner. MAUSD learners are empathetic. Here's what that means. And then having questions for people to respond to. How can I support this pillar? How can we support this pillar? And I mean, what that looks like just for folks who weren't there, who haven't experienced a Chalk Talk, is, having big pieces of chart paper at different stations around the room, having people in small groups, and then facilitating, a timekeeping process where people have, 2 or 3 minutes at each station to write down their thoughts. And then we can do a quick kind of like theme, what takeaway, debrief, and then we have that data to, maybe support some pathways for people to show up in support of MAUSD. So any thoughts about that? Any like adjustments, or does this still resonate? Awesome.
Or the questions.
Mhm.
I like the questions. How can I support? How can we support? Do we want to add anything? Or do we think leaving it open-ended will encourage more discussion?
For me, I guess with some space from looking at this, one clarifying question that might come up is like, who is we? So I wonder if we wanted to do like who is we? Do we want to
if
demystify
we-
that at all or leave it open to interpretation?
What if we clarified, how can I, in parentheses, as an individual, in parentheses, support this pillar? How can we, in parentheses, as a community?
I love that. Any
Thank
other thoughts, feelings?
So my only other thought is, so I assume we'll need some kind of note taking, or are people making their own notes and we're gathering them? I just want to have some awareness around how we're gathering the feedback. So is this feedback that we intend to follow up on, or is this community brainstorming? Like, so just how you want us to gather data and what data we should gather from this as we go, or not. I don't know.
I think this is answering your question, but tell me no if not. Typically, so the kind of artifact you have after a chalk talk is these big pieces of paper with lots of writing on them. And we often
Okay.
just process those into, a document or a spreadsheet and figure out how and in what ways is this valuable to share to whom. So, yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
And then, yeah, very much so. That sounds awesome. Thank you so much.
Your question, Liz, makes me think, so we're doing something of a parallel with the staff next week, right? So, we met with the staff, the entire district staff, which I think was like close to 250 people or so
Mhm.
in October. And we laid the groundwork for the Portrait of a Learner project. So we essentially walked them through what we're doing, why we're doing it. And then we actually used the Chalk Talk, which is the name of this protocol. And I can't remember the questions precisely, but it was the same activity. And the commitment to that staff was that we're going to take that this will be one of the data sources that the team that, works with in developing the pillars of the Portrait of a Learner. So the reason we're going back to the staff, and I think this is parallel to why we're going back to the community, because we've asked the community, right, through the surveys to give us their input, is a little bit of, okay, we heard you. This is what we shaped as a result of everything we heard. And we want to, it's not over. It's not like this is now like carved in stone and it's never going to evolve. And so it's almost like let's check back with our people and see, like, does this resonate? Are there things that we didn't think about? And I think it's also trying to validate the things we're already doing. Like, one of our abiding principles of work is like build on strengths. So what are you doing that's already helping with this? So, those final two questions, and I think we should think about like how do we in fact incorporate, like, what am I or what are we doing now to contribute, and what else do we want to try? So I think that's the last question in my mind is
Yeah.
how do we
For me too.
weave that in to this evening? And I think with the staff, we're doing it through a single Chalk Talk, right? Like they'll look at the pillars and they'll talk about what do we do? I think they're doing those last two questions, right?
They're looking at the portrait and because they're really the group of people that can speak to kind of what are we currently doing? What do we want to do more of? So those are the questions that they're going to look at. And I think that
Yeah.
that data feels like it's a really clear kind of path to sharing that with the team that's going to be doing revising of the ends and strategic planning, because it's like the teachers the staff have helped us to demystify all of the ways that we're already doing this and all of the ways we want to double down or recommit or whatever. So I feel like that's kind of, and I think that is true of this group too. right? It's like, this is good information for the board and whomever is participating in those processes to say, here's how we can bring in our community so that the strategic plan is also representative of all of those resources and key groups. So I think that that is really important, but that there's this other piece of, I feel like when we met last, we talked about like, this is an opportunity to kind of see what, I remember you saying there's like an HVAC committee that emerged from, so, it's like what emergent things might, because we're all in the same room together, like might come out of this that wouldn't otherwise. So I'm wondering, to your point, like how do we hold that piece so that in addition to gathering the data, other things might surface. It might be as simple as just having another piece of chart paper, or, well, I don't know, I don't like that actually, but like a circle, or I don't know. What do you think for anyone?
Yeah, what are,
Example of, I am not really clear on what you mean.
Mhm.
Like, I think I know, but, so could you give an example of how what you're thinking and what the sticking point might be for me?
I guess it's kind of maybe a what if of like, if in the chalk talk, someone's like, hey, I have this connection to this group of people who wants to help with the mentoring program, or I have a group of people who want to volunteer to, help with the after school or something. And it's like, how do we then, like, if those things are surfaced, how do we grab them so that they can maybe turn into something? And maybe the chalk talk's enough, but I guess yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm starting to think, that the
Yeah.
chalk talk is maybe enough, because it seems like in the question of like, how can I support, let's say somebody owns a local business and they hire students, or I don't know, someone has interns at their organization. I mean,
Mhm.
so those are things that are already happening. And maybe, yeah, it feels like they're not that separate, and to do it a second
Agreed.
time feels like,
Redundant.
yeah.
Do you all feel like you as a community engagement committee have things that you would want to share at that point, so that are there already identifiable ways for people to plug in that would be supportive to you that you would just want to share?
I
Good.
wonder, because I was thinking when you gave your example, that was going through my mind as well. And I think when people are really excited about offering services or knowing about a resource, that's when you want to kind of strike when the iron's hot, because they could go home and forget or whatever, life happens. So I wonder if there were a resource, like just a parking lot for resources, be it on the wall, like if you have some, something to offer, here's a place to, identify the resource. And it may be no one signs up for anything, or it may be like, yeah, I really want to give art lessons, so call me. Just something, and
Yeah.
we could at least
Like that.
connect with those folks. Just
I
a
mean,
thought.
I think it's a great idea, and I think it also leads to thinking about closure on this. And I realize we didn't necessarily put sort of a intentional closure, but I think that could be a really effective way to sort of close the, you know, program for the evening, and people could then like mill around and stick around as long as they want. And something like a parking lot where you can populate it with ideas and, things that you're interested in doing, I think could be a really good way to get as far as we can in terms of capturing stuff before people leave that
Mhm.
evening.
Yeah, and I wonder too, I mean, if we brainstormed, maybe we're gonna meet with Patrick and Katrina soon, but if it's like just saying thank you for showing up tonight. If you want to keep showing up, here's something that's happening this week. Here's something, like maybe having a few ways to kind of keep people, like you said, kind of keep that momentum rolling and let them know like it really matters. And here's some more ways, even if it's like, here's our, you know, our latest concert or whatever. I think that could be really nice. So maybe there's this kind of a parking lot that we point out to people. Maybe there's a moment or a resource that has some ways for people to stay involved, that we've already identified, and then we should have a closing of some sort. Does that feel right?
I mean, I think what you just said is great, like, thank people for coming. And encourage them to stay in touch, leave their thoughts in the parking lot. Because your intention, I'm sort of going back to what somebody said, like, what do we intend to do with all this input? Your intention, I think, is to digest all the input that you get in this evening and use it to shape your work as a community engagement group and potentially share with other groups.
I think this is an awesome agenda.
You too. We're gonna just do that.
I do too. Yeah.
So as far as like formalizing the agenda, the run a show, I'm assuming Susanna and Harry, you two are going to be the facilitators.
Yeah, what
Will-
we'll do is make this nice. So it actually looks like an agenda that we can really work from, almost like a script sort of thing with timing and that. And then usually we'll have a section of the agenda that really spells out who's doing which part.
Mhm.
So we can populate that with what we understand it to be and share it back with you. And we also are meeting with the Portrait of a Learner team tomorrow, so we can have a better sense of who all from that team might be able to be there.
Cool.
So if that sounds good, we'll work on that.
I bet Aaron will go, which means we can probably get Noelle to go. Maybe.
Yeah,
Poor
we've already
kid.
had some interested. Noelle is,
So-
yeah, definitely interested. Cam, Calvin, yeah, we got to work in the yo-yo if we can. We definitely have some youth from Moncton who are interested.
Maybe we could open and close with a yo-yo performance.
For sure.
I'm gonna put that in there. It's just
We've got great kids.
So I think, I mean, to me, the remaining piece is the logistics, which I think falls on you all around getting the word out. And I know that we had created a list of groups specifically to reach out to. And then organizing sort of the mechanics of the evening, which might include childcare, food, I mean, and room setup, that sort of thing. But I'm assuming that those are the pieces that would land with you all.
Yes. So, what I think might be helpful is if you scroll down to the section outreach to the following groups, maybe we can just go through them and have somebody own outreach to each group. We should also talk about the flyer, food, and childcare. I'm just going to plug in. I have absolutely no idea how to get childcare for even my own kids. So if any of you know how to get childcare for this event, or if that's still something we want to do, that would be helpful. But yeah, let's start with outreach, select boards. Who wants to own select boards?
yes.
So yes, Barb.
I'll do it.
So you're cool to reach out to all the select boards,
Should I could.
or we could do one from each town. So
Yeah.
Barb,
Or
you're
I could take
Moncton, right?
So I'm in Moncton. I'm wondering if we like maybe divvied it up to like Kristen might do Starksboro, I could do Moncton. Liz, would you mind doing Bristol? And then I could do New Haven.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So Barb can do Moncton and New Haven. Kristen can do Starksboro. Liz can do Bristol. Community council. That's Liz, you can take the community council. Okay. Mentoring team.
I think Katrina had that in, but Liz, if you also do.
Okay. Liz and Katrina. Liz, I'm going to take the Bristol Select Board off your plate since you have a lot of connections and I don't want you to have to worry about everybody. NAUSD Portrait of a Learner team. I feel like we've got them covered.
Yep.
All parents and caregivers. Can Patrick send out a mass email or is he not allowed to do that?
I think he's allowed to do that, right? I
I
would
don't see why
imagine we could
not,
send
yeah.
all them all to let them know of a snow day. We can, yeah.
What do you think, Beth? You were saying something, but I couldn't really hear you. Not
Very
really.
faint. We can hear you. It's just very low volume.
I think we can get all parents and caregivers and make US
We can't hear you, Beth. Yeah, if you want to put it in the chat.
I mean, the other thought I was gonna mention is perhaps we could ask Aaron as chair of the school board to co-author a message with Patrick.
Yeah, and then that can go on, the MUSD website and, all over the social medias as a message from the board chair.
Awesome. And Beth put that the school newsletter will cover many folks, which is great. Library boards and a MAUSD website post as well. And I'll just add that. So newsletters and website posts. I don't see anything for front porch forum. I'm going to add that.
I think that Kristen, Kathy and I, if we could put something together and post it to our own front porch forums. Who's been doing Bristol, I wonder? Has Aaron? I don't know.
My guess.
So what I've done in the past is I just tell Erin and then she sends it to everybody. So I'll just put normal
Yeah.
board protocol Erin.
I think we're the route.
I'll take the library boards.
Okay.
My neighbor is the chair of the Lawrence Memorial Library, so I bet I can get him to get a couple of people to show up. Who wants to take the MAUSD administrators?
I mean, we're talking to them already, so why don't we, oh,
We're talking to Patrick, so maybe we tap Patrick and Katrina to.
Beth was raising her
Oh,
hand
Beth,
too.
that makes more sense.
Yeah,
Go, Beth.
Sweet. Preschools. They are continuing to not call me back, so maybe somebody that doesn't have my phone number. Beth, you want to take it?
Thank you.
Awesome. After school program, ELP people.
I could do it.
Thank you.
Does anyone have an in with the board?
I don't know.
I'll take, I'll reach out to the board. They
Thank-
better show up.
I had a quick question about, the library board. Are you gonna do all the towns or are you just doing Bristol?
I was just gonna do all the towns. It's just gonna look up their email addresses and send a mass
Okay,
one out.
perfect, thanks.
I think that's a good group. What do
That's
you
good.
all think?
I wonder, is there a way to somehow get it out to students who may not have been on the up team?
I was wondering about that too. Yeah, do we reach out to students?
I wondered, so for community council,
Yeah.
if the asks to them are, you should come to this thing, but also can you please mobilize to get the word out? And I also think we can lean on our elementary school students to, if we have the information, we can have them share it with their schools.
Do they do Friday Full City? I mean, that shows hope. Like,
We've heard of them at some, I don't know if they do it universally, but I know that some schools do, because we've
Yeah.
heard of some this year. Because we could pop that right into a Friday folder.
Mhm.
It's really good. So I wonder, yeah, if asking the community council for support with getting the word out.
Yeah, I definitely, I'll do that. I'll ask to be on their agenda and, that's a good idea. I think that there's morning announcements and then there's a weekly newsletter that comes out, that has a lot of great information in it. So, maybe they'd be willing to make a couple flyers and put them up around the school, something like that.
Yep.
That'd be great.
And as far as childcare, I mean,
That might be where we could reach out to the ELP team and see if they've got suggestions. Because I feel like for town meeting, at least for Starksboro, we've usually tapped into ELP for that. And it's usually, by donation.
Yeah.
And that's usually a good motivator for kids to want to take care of the kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
Kristen,
some-
can you? Oh, Kristen, are you okay to own that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Sweet.
So,
I was,
go
I
ahead,
was
Barb.
thinking also, could we open it up to high school students, like ask, is that part of any curriculum that, I don't know, even a, career center or something like that, some of the Bristol students that might go to the career center
Or the-
that have childcare in the curriculum, maybe they might be called on to volunteer, or I don't know.
I think the Bristol Hub offers like a babysitting class.
Mm,
And they might have resources. I'm not sure. I mean, I've seen it, advertised, and maybe on Front Porch Forum, but I don't really have any ties to people that I'm aware
Yeah.
of for the Bristol Hub, but, I'm just thinking because they typically offer those kinds of, like, the certifications, whatever babysitter certification is.
Yeah. I think that you'd need adults anyway, but just so that there would be more guided play
Yeah.
or 1-on-2, 1-on-3, whatever. Story time,
Mhm.
something.
Yeah, that's a good point.
some community council members might enjoy that idea as well, so that could be a.
Cool. For the flyer, what are we calling this event?
Good question.
Well, it's about the
Community.
portrait of a learner and it's about the community.
Community vision.
How about a community conversation about the portrait of a learner?
Mhm.
So, headline, community conversations, subhead, hear from MAUSD students about what they want the portrait of a learner to be.
Could be the portrait of a learner or their vision for MAUSD schools.
Yes, I love that. So hear from the students about their vision for MAUSD schools.
Here,
I love that.
I don't think it hurts to have portrait of a learner on there, but I also think that people will
Yeah,
probably not know what that means, so.
yeah,
it's true.
I think that's good.
So then just we can add some information about portrait of a learner. We can add the date and time. To get food, how have we gotten food for events in the past?
Beth, is there a path? Do we like ask Patrick and he asks the kitchen or what? I don't know.
Okay, sweet. So I will talk to Patrick. Or was the food? So Meredith will talk to Patrick about getting food from the MAUSD kitchen. So we will put that there will be food on the flyer. We would ideally want to reach out to the groups listed above as soon as possible. Is it reasonable to coordinate childcare in the next couple of business days?
Oh,
Are you wondering because you're wanting it on the flyer? Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Hand them to see what they have. on the 28th.
Meredith, is the 28th the firm date? Is that?
Mhm.
Okay,
That's the date.
okay. Thank you.
What about,
You're
Chris,
welcome.
you make an inquiry in the next day or two? And
Yeah,
I mean, I think if it's not gonna be doable, then we just don't include it.
Yeah.
So obviously that's,
I can definitely do that.
Thank you, Kristen.
Of course.
do you want us to provide sort of text that you all can then? Cause we.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
together pretty, we could get it to you tomorrow or the next day,
Mhm.
certainly this next couple days. I just would do, there's one other detail which I think is space, and I'm wondering, as in the physical setup, and I'm wondering, Meredith, if you're already talking to Patrick about food, if you could just convey to him that really ideally we'd have enough chairs for everybody that comes and some arrangement with tables so that people could sit at, I mean, this is my thought, 6 or 8 people at a table, and space to put up these flip charts on the wall. So a space that would accommodate those two, or that stuff.
Okay. I can definitely do that.
Nice.
I haven't internalized that either. Where is it? Is it here, right?
Yep.
In the library?
We're talking about doing it in this room?
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I think that'd be great
yeah,
if we can. Yeah, these tables are here,
okay,
plenty of seating.
yeah,
Can use the screens.
okay, great.
Cool. We have a
Where,
lot of work. Yeah.
where would the childcare be?
Yeah, I'm wondering like in the.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking childcare in the library and maybe us in the cafeteria.
That's what I was thinking too, cafeteria, because it's bigger. With more tables. And the kitchen's right there. If we're able to. and nibblies from there.
Sure. Yeah.
It's-
Do you
it's
have
the-
access to,
It's very flexible too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
The big.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about the cafeteria is if a big group showed up, that would work a lot better than this space.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
And if it's a small group, it still isn't gonna feel.
yeah, it
Mhm.
works fine. It
Yeah.
works fine.
Yeah, absolutely. That all seems really good. I mean, maybe we keep track of who's done what just by checking, using these check boxes on this, if that feels good to folks.
Yeah, that feels great.
Okay.
That sounds like,
So I can own the flyer. Kristen, if you could get an answer by Friday about feasibility, I'll get the flyer done by Monday, and let's try our darndest to reach out to everybody by the end of next week.
Mm-hmm.
So quick question about the childcare. So who do you think, who being like what group of people would make the most sense for reaching out? In terms of like getting a timely response and feasibility of a thumbs up.
My personal vote, and please tell me if I'm thinking about this wrong. We have 3 weeks.
Yep.
I would kind of prefer we just don't do childcare. Because to me, it just sounds really complicated to coordinate.
The only other part of that is this meeting's at 7, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, hopefully kids that are still up, I mean, this might be a whatever. Kids that are still up at that time might be old enough just to participate rather than
Also what
be
I was
cared for.
thinking,
Oh.
even toddlers, right? I don't see why we can't just say, please bring your young people, toddlers and up are welcome, babies and up are welcome. I don't see why
Yeah.
that'd be prohibited. That might be the best way. Just
Yeah.
bring your-
And we could have a space for them, like have some tables that are kind of dedicated to them hanging out or coloring or snacking or whatever it is.
yeah.
Yeah, so maybe on the flyer, well, I don't know. I don't want people to read the flyer and then misread. Say
All
like,
ages are welcome.
all ages are welcome and encouraged.
I wonder if some of the kiddos from the up team might volunteer to hang with
I
the
was thinking
adults.
that too.
Yeah, definitely.
If they're already interested in coming, that's even more participation for them.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a good point.
it's, their peers.
There will be activities to keep little ones busy or something. Does that, yeah, I'll write that in there and you can
Yeah,
language it.
I
or
can
not.
bring Play-Doh and coloring and have a few fun things at a table for sure. Well prepared to bring some activities, so I'll
Great.
do that.
Which makes me
Cool.
think of putting the time, I know it's what starts at 7. I would suggest we say it's 7 to 8. Like, I think keeping it really focused. People can stick around longer if they want to, but I think at that time of day or evening, to keep it to an hour is respectful, and I think we can do what we have laid out.
And it's
In an
school
hour.
night, so people might be more prone to bring their kids on a school night.
Mhm.
As opposed to if it goes longer, thinking about cutting into bedtime and crabby kids in the morning
Mhm.
and. It might just
Agreed.
be more. Friendly.
I agree.
Awesome. So
Yeah,
then I will get this flyer done by the end of this week. Do we think it's reasonable to reach out to all the groups we need to reach out to by the end of day next Wednesday? Because that will be 2 weeks before the date of the event.
good timeline to plan for.
May 14th, Susanna.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think if, as long as we've got, front porch forum post that can go up or go out the next day.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think too, if at all possible, if we can get, flyers in the town clerk's offices.
Were you volunteering to do that?
I
Or
volunteered one of my kids.
Oh,
use hers
perfect.
for-
Great.
Kristen's kids. I love it.
Great.
Awesome.
Cool. I think we've got a great plan, team.
Yeah. And we can also have, well, we won't have it by tomorrow. I was thinking we could have members of our team like volunteer to post one flyer somewhere in their town, but we won't have that ready to go. But
Probably not.
that's okay.
Well,
We can send it to them.
The other
Their
thing we can do
principals.
Too is when you reach out to, say, the library board, say like,
Mhm.
hey, I'm gonna email you our flyer, can you just print one and put it
Yeah,
out?
that's a great idea.
You know, hopefully
Yep.
they've got the, you know, the toner to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
They have fallen on hard times for sure.
Yes.
For real.
All right.
All right.
Looks
This is
good.
great. Go team.
Yeah.
Go team. So we're feeling good about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do we have a meeting before the 28th to kind of check in and just, you know, see if we're feeling good, or do we think that's unnecessary? I could go either way.
I mean, I would turn it to you, but my thought would be maybe we all agree to convene here like at 6 o'clock on the 28th.
Yeah, I like that.
And
Yep, let's do that.
we can communicate by email between now and
Yeah.
then.
Sweet.
Perfect.
Let's do it. That sounds great.
Thank you all
Thank you
so
all.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great night.
You too. Thanks for everything.
Of course.
And CEC team, we still have a couple more action items that should hopefully be maybe hard, maybe not. But the next item is a discussion on the meeting time. It was requested that we move back to the first Tuesday of the month to happen on the same date and time as the other committees. There's a couple of reasons for this. Number one, the other committees are going to be moving from school to school. So Patrick's put together a schedule of where they're going to be on which days to get all of the committees out to all of the schools, which I think is fabulous. Also, Patrick would like to sometimes join our meetings, and it's a lot of time spent away from his family if it's not on the same date as the other committees. So I personally am for this, but wanted to check with all of you.
Yeah, I think it's a good
I
idea.
think it would be fine.
Yeah.
All right. Then we'll do that. Do I need to like make an official motion or something?
I'm wondering if you're gonna do that also, would you put when does it start like that? In June or?
In June. If that's okay with everybody.
I think it's if we just I'll just take note of starting back in order to visit all the schools and all of that in under the discussion, and that
Okay.
should be fine. As our chair, we could, we approve, I guess. Also because we didn't have it's under here as discussion instead of action item, so I think we just leave it
Right.
like that and we'll be good.
Okay.
Thank you so much for doing that, though. I was worried about not having that work out and being able to go to the schools with everybody else. So I'm really glad we will be.
Me too. So the June meeting will be at Beeman.
Awesome.
So it's gonna, their May meetings are happening at Robinson. So it's Robinson in May, Beeman in June, Moncton in September, Bristol in October, Mount Abe in November. And I figure for our December meeting, we can go back to Robinson, or we could just miss each other all July and just hang out in Robinson by ourselves. Unofficially, not as a quorum of the school board.
And so this will be in our minutes. so we can make sure we're in the right place.
You're going to bed. Good night.
Yeah.
Yes, if you could just say that one more time and I'll get that.
So the next meeting date is not going to be June 4th, but it is going to be at Beaman. So let me see. It is the first Tuesday of the month. So it's going to be June 3rd. Is that when the other committees are meeting? Oh, I'm so confused. Let me check our website to see when the next Finance and Facilities Committee is meeting. I mean, USD.org. School board, that's us. Board calendar. Okay. Okay, so our next meeting will be June 10th at Beaman Elementary. Cool. Last thing is we've got to write a committee charge.
Mhm.
Yeah, how are we feeling about the committee charge?
Do we have any reference to a charge that may have been written in the past that we could modify perhaps?
Yes,
Because I
so
feel like, oh, sorry.
go ahead, Kristen.
I feel like the other groups, or the other committees, they just went with what had been approved the previous year. I don't think there were any changes made. For whatever reason, that's what's sticking out in my head. I could be wrong.
So yes, but the issue is that so I'm going to share a couple of documents with you, maybe. So in chat, I am posting a link to the Finance and Facilities Committee charge. And then I'm going to share another link, which is the Community Engagement Committee charge from last year. And you'll see that ours is much shorter and formatted differently. I personally don't care and am fine with our current charge. But they did ask us to put our charge in their format, so I guess it's up to us. Do we want to do that or do we want to not do that?
I'm trying to find. Okay.
It just seems like this charge document is very long and difficult to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, I mean, I understand the rationale. I think the reason that they want this to be like that is so that, oh gosh, I lost everybody. Am I gone?
No, you're still
No,
here.
you're here.
And by the way, it's not like the board is telling us that we have to do it this way. It was, I think, Mike saying, hey, community engagement, finance and facilities and policy and governments have this format. Why don't you do this format too, so we can all be in the same format?
Right, right. And probably thinking that it would make life easier for everybody to have it all in the same format, but I'm not sure it suits what we're doing.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I would agree with that.
And I wonder, here's what I wonder. I think it's gonna take a little work to try
Yeah.
and like I feel like I'm putting a square peg in a round hole. But it can be done somehow. Maybe it would be more concise, but it might look similar or feel similar. But I think it would take some work.
Agreed.
I just don't think it's the best use of our time. Like, I would rather just keep our charge as it is, and that's the way that it is. And if the other facilities, or not facilities, if the other committees have an issue with it, they can make a motion for us to change it.
Yeah, and I think too that, you know, I think that we can be given a little bit of leeway if they do, you know, kind of feel a way about it, you know, just and just say, how about after we're done with our event?
Right.
You know, because Barb makes a really good point. Like this is a lot. And I like to be able to do something like this in the 45 minutes that we have left. I think that's a little unrealistic to put something together that's thoughtful, instead of just creating a word salad. I don't know.
Agreed.
And so maybe also for the next meeting, I can shoot to you, Meredith, to have on the agenda. We had this really was just the beginning, right? It was our charge. And there was a document Krista made and a document Aaron worked on really hard for a long time that was about the communication plan for the board. Right. And then Krista had another version of that she had worked on. So maybe I can share those because that's really where all of the depth comes in. Like
Yeah.
Krista had these 3 times a year. We were doing meetings, inviting them to a board meeting and setting aside a half hour to like talk with staff at 3 times so it's like those were kind of the homes for it, and putting it in policy is a lot, but the one Aaron was working on was an actual policy for the board. So maybe if we look over those and see what we'd like to run with, because if we say that we're gonna do something, we need to do it, and it does take away the flexibility, right? So having our plan be another document kind of does make sense in some ways. But I'll share those with you, and
Okay.
maybe that'll help us not necessarily change our charge, but create a work plan. Might be more of what we are looking for, perhaps.
So could we say that our current charge is our charge, like the thing that the big board can vote on, and say that the additional pieces are actively being compiled in a work plan? Do we think that's
Yeah.
an okay thing to say?
Or maybe that maybe we need to buy some time and get together.
Yeah.
And that I feel like I don't want to kick the can down the road. And I hear you, Liz, and I hear you, Meredith, and I feel like somewhere in between is the right answer.
Yeah.
But I do, and I really agree with the 45 minute, probably now 30-minute limit to our meeting. Not being enough time. Maybe what we can propose is this is part of our plan to design a new charge by September or something like that.
Yeah,
I think that's realistic. You know,
I think so too.
and the other thing too that I can't help but have very much in the back, sometimes in the very front of my head, is that if things are changing so rapidly. And Liz, I'm trying to remember the piece that Krista did. Was that the thought exchange?
Yes, she did do a thought exchange.
I don't know how realistic that is to have that model, given the you know what our board meetings have turned into. I think that those meetings were a very different time, and I think where, you know, it's not that it's not valuable. I just think that it's just become a very different agenda. And I think that it might be a good point of reference But perhaps Aaron's document might be a little bit more relatable now, if that
Right.
makes sense. And I, I also think that, I want to make sure that we're being mindful of everyone's time, especially yours. If you're, if you're taking the time to do all the digging, I want to be mindful of your time and commitment too, so just putting it out there, just as sort of my 2 cents.
So
I like it, and I like the idea of having this document, like a working document that we're going with, right? Like we're then being able to share out that we know, once we know something, we know it, right? Like if we're doing events in the fall every year, because
Mhm.
we've talked, right, that hey, we're gonna do this, and it's just there, it's our work plan, we're making it happen. I don't know, that just to organize ourselves, I think would kind of be the purpose of looking at the charge, I think. Right,
Mhm.
is that help guide us? And we got a charge, I don't know if this is in there anywhere involved in it, but right, at the last meeting where Aaron charged each of our committees to do certain work,
Mhm.
I don't know how that relates to our, if that like updated our chart. I don't know how that, like, did that update each committee's actual charge when we all agreed to have this certain work that we were doing? I don't know. No.
I don't think so, because their charges were already written ahead of
Mhm.
the meeting.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
Good.
do we want to say we need more time to write our charge and we'll have it at the September board meeting?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion to present our final charge at the September board meeting?
Should I say what that motion is? Is that the proper?
So we we have a motion in action on the agenda to write our committee charge. So I don't actually know
I'm trying to
with
think.
open meeting law how we would do that.
Let me look at the.
Or maybe we can make a motion to write our committee charge and then we can all vote against it.
Or we could table it. We could make a motion to table it till September
Right.
or
Let's do that.
August.
Yeah. Or here's another thought. We have one meeting after our event
Yep.
at Beaman and we start our work then. And it may have to be edited. Maybe that's the meeting that we use to do a lot of this work.
Yeah.
We may need more time, but maybe we need to like say we're gonna work in June and at the September meeting, and we'll have it ready to present to the board at the board meeting in September. So that would give us 2 meetings without having to do extra time. We should be able to get it together by then.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Let's
I
do
love
that.
idea. Okay.
So do I have a motion to table the committee charge until our June meeting?
So moved.
Second,
Second. Barb.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Cool. So that's it, guys.
Awesome.
Great work. We have been so efficient in our last couple of meetings.
Yeah, we've been really cranking along. Meredith, would you mind sending the docs? Because you put it in the chat. I am like, I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. I can't see anybody, but this is
Yep.
me. I'm so inept with technology. Sometimes I get bottled in. Would you mind just sending it to me?
Yep.
Thank you.
I
And
will
also,
send.
do we have access to Susanna's document?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, if that could be shared out as
that would be
well.
great.
Absolutely. So I'm grabbing all the links
Awesome.
from our meeting today. I will get a follow-up email ready tomorrow and send it to all of you tomorrow morning.
Perfect.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
All right. Motion to adjourn?
So moved, Barb.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? All right. Go team. Great work today, and see you all next week for the big board meeting. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very
Thanks all.
much.
See ya.
Bye.